Hey everybody, it's Angie and welcome to Hot and Flashy. In today's Foundation Friday for over 50s, we are going to be reviewing Wander Beauty Nude Illusion Foundation. This retails for $40 for 1.01 ounces and it comes in only 12 shades. It is supposed to be a weightless, full coverage foundation with a natural radiant finish that gives skin a filtered finish with all-day coverage look that's heat, humidity, and sweat resistant. They say that one layer makes blemishes, redness, and discolorations magically disappear. So always having high hopes for the foundations that I put to the test on my more mature, less than perfect skin. I'm 57, I have my fair share of wrinkles, enlarged pores, texture, age spots, and redness to contend with. My skin is combo. It's mainly normal, a little bit oily around the T-zone, and sometimes dry around my mouth and up in the temple areas. So we're going to put this to a multi-day wear test today. I've already worn it 2 days with different primers, different sunscreens, different setting powders. So let's get into it. The Wander Nude Illusion Foundation is packaged in a plastic squeezy tube, and when you open it up, it's got a little surprise for you inside. It's got a whopper of an oversized doe foot applicator. I actually kind of like these doe foot applicators. For ingredients, this is a pretty standard water and silicone base. They did throw in a couple of skin-caring ingredients in there. It's got niacinamide, green tea, vitamin E, as well as a number of other plant-based extracts. It's free of parabens, sulfates, and phthalates. Wander Beauty is a cruelty-free brand, and this formula doesn't contain any SD alcohol or fragrance, so those are all good things. The shade I got it in is light medium. Let me bring in the swatch on that. I only got the one, and I got a shade match for me right off the bat. For the first day, I tried it with my standard Holy Grail sunscreen, which is a mix of Elta MD UV Elements SPF 44 and Paula's Choice Super Light SPF 30. I used the doe foot applicator to dot it around my face, and I applied on one side with the damp Beauty Blender sponge and on the other side with the BK Beauty 101 brush. Okay, what the heck is wrong with me? I'm loving everything when I first put it on these days. Like, I think the color's good. Shocking. Oh, my neck's so irritated. Haven't looked at it up close, but wow. Kind of like it. Pretty, skin-like. So far, so good. This foundation blends really easily with both the sponge and the brush. I got medium coverage with the amount that I used and liked how it looked with one layer. The finish is slightly more luminous than I like because luminosity does accentuate my texture, but it did feel lightweight on the skin and didn't look cakey or makeup-y. I used my IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Pores powder to set my T-zone. With the rest of my makeup on, I thought it looked really, really nice. I was really psyched about how it looked overall, although it was settling into my wrinkles a little bit by the side of my mouth and a little bit in the wrinkles on my forehead. But it does have that luminous finish, and so that wasn't really obvious. It didn't look cracked or broken up on the surface. It gave a really smooth skin-like finish. This actually reminded me a lot of the Estee Lauder Futurist that I reviewed a few weeks ago, and I love that one. It's a new holy grail for me, and this one reminded me so much of it. I was so psyched and thought, ooh, this one's going to be a new holy grail as well. So I went about my day, wore it around, and came back to the camera after about 5 hours. So at the 5-hour mark, I was terribly disappointed because instead of being a great long-wearing foundation like that Estee Lauder Futurist was, this one was already wearing off really badly on my nose, which is pretty red. It was starting to look patchy between my eyebrows and on my chin, and had come off where I had touched my face when I was resting my hand on my face while I was editing some videos earlier in the day. It was lightweight and comfortable to wear, and non-drying, but it was definitely more luminous now at the 5-hour mark and accentuating my pores and texture. If I was going anywhere, I definitely would have powdered it again or blotted it. So at the 10-hour check-in, I didn't think it looked terrible, but it didn't look great either. It hadn't deteriorated too much more since the 5-hour check-in. It kind of changed from being really natural and skin-like to looking much more waxy and accentuating texture. I was just kind of meh about it, where I had started off really, really psyched about it. So looking for ways to make it last a little bit longer. For day 2, I threw some primers at it to see if that would improve it, and I switched up the sunscreen. I used the It Gripping Primer on one side of my face and the Hourglass Veil Primer on the other. I used my fingers on the Hourglass Primer side. Okay, be careful with that doe foot. You actually get a lot on there. Okay, that is a no-go with the fingers. It's polka dot pores, streaks, blotchy, mottled, everything bad. I'll probably end up just going over this side with the brush. And I use the BK Beauty 101 brush on the It Primer side. Okay, what a difference the brush makes. It goes on so nicely, but I am going to build it up a little bit right over here where I don't think I put on quite enough. Just there, and right here where I kind of removed it. I'm going to go over this side with the brush and go for a little built-up coverage today since I wore it more sheer the other day. I've got about half my makeup on. I was just looking in the mirror and noticing how luminous this was. So because of the sunscreen today, it's super duper luminous. I was going to try to not powder it today, but I just feel like I'm so ridiculously shiny. So I am going to go ahead and powder today. I'm going to use the Jeffree Star Magic Powder in beige. Alright, I've got the rest of my makeup on. I think this looks nice. It was still sticky and tacky, and it is where I didn't powder it over here still. So it's not one that really dries back very well, and it is coming off on my fingers when I touch my face. The rest of my makeup today, on my eyes, I have the ColourPop Nude Mood palette. On my lips, I have Bobbi Brown Crushed Liquid Lip in Juicy Date. Cheeks are e.l.f. Primer Infused Blush in Always Cheeky. With the rest of my makeup, I really liked it. It's got a really pretty skin-like finish when you first put it on. It seemed to play very well with both the primers as well as today's sunscreen. It didn't settle in any wrinkles, and it didn't settle into any pores except for when I applied it with the fingers. I came back to the camera for a 6-hour check-in, and at that point it still looked really, really good and was wearing much better than it had at 5 hours the day before. All right, I'd say that the Hourglass side is wearing a little bit better than the It side, just like right here on my nose, but overall, I think both sides are wearing pretty well. It's not as worn off as it was last time I wore it at 5 hours with no primer. So the primers both are definitely helping it. The other thing I notice is that it's not settling in any wrinkles anywhere. And I think it's pretty good. I mean, if I was going out right now, I would probably powder my T-zone or blot it a little bit because it is getting a little bit luminous and kind of accentuating my texture in there a little bit at this point, but I think I'll just leave it. I don't really need to powder it. I don't really have to go out. So at the 10-hour check-in, it was less worn off than it had been on day 1, but it did look a little sunken into my skin at the end of the day, and my skin just looked kind of waxy and textured, and I really didn't like it at the end of the day. So after 2 days of wear, 2 different sunscreens, 2 different primers, the results were kind of the same with this one, where I loved how it looked when I first put it on, but by the end of the day, I just wasn't in love with it anymore. So today's the 3rd day. Today I put it on with yet a 3rd sunscreen. This one is a mineral sunscreen, but a little bit more lightweight and fluid. It's my Make Prem UV Defense Me Lotion SPF 50. I used the It Gripping Primer all over my face. I applied the foundation with my BK Beauty blending sponge because I wanted to give this guy a try and see how it worked, and it worked really nicely. I actually like how the foundation looks today the best out of the 3 days that I wore it. Because I went with a little bit lighter coverage, and this sponge really holds like a lot more water, so it seems like damper than my beauty blender would, so I think it kind of sheared it out a little bit more, but yet it didn't shear out the pigment, so I still have really good coverage of all my redness and all my age spots, and like I have a little pimple here and you can't see that either. And today I'm having a good day with it, although I did get a super late start. I didn't end up putting on my makeup till like 2 o'clock, and now it's, oh what, 4:15. And today I set it with the Jeffree Star Magic Powder in the shade beige because I'm going to be doing the flash photo today and I don't want the flashback under my eyes that the It powder gives. So let's do the rest of the tests that we have to do on it. All right, let's go ahead and do the phone test. Here is the sparkling clean phone glass, no face prints anywhere to be seen. I'm going to guess that it probably will because it's one of those ones that really doesn't dry back fully. And what do we see there? Oh yeah, pretty big face smudge right there after only a couple seconds. So yeah, pretty transfery. Okay, I already did the regular selfie and the flash test, so let me show you those now. It actually photographs really well. Here's a selfie that I took with it a couple of minutes ago. I think it looks really nice. It's a great looking foundation. It photographs really pretty. I mean, it's not accentuating my pores and texture in this picture. And here is the darkened room flash pic. What is going on with my eyes today? They look so sleepy. I would say that that is giving some flashback. My face is definitely looking a little whiter and a little more more ghostly than the rest of me down below. So that's a fail on the flash pic, but a pass for the Jeffree Star powder again. And what else do we have to do? I have the kitchen light footage, the natural light window footage, and the outdoor sunshine footage. Let me bring that in for you now. Okay, here's the Wander Beauty foundation in the overhead kitchen light. Here's the Wander foundation just by a window, natural light. All right, now we're gonna do Wander foundation out in the bright sunshine. It was so bright before I went in to put on my makeup. Now it's clouding up a little, so it's not gonna be like the horrible super bright sunshine, but anyway, we'll get a decent look at it. So here we go. Let's see what the puppies are up to. All right, so I guess it's time to do the pros and the cons. On the pro side are the soft luminous finish. You know, I don't really love a luminous finish. What am I saying? Why am I putting that as a pro? I have a love-hate relationship with luminosity, okay? I feel like luminosity overall makes you look more youthful, but I only powder selectively and then leave the rest luminous, which is kind of what I like, okay? Does that even make any sense? But it's going over there. It's skin-like and natural looking. It doesn't settle into pores. I'm going to put it doesn't settle into wrinkles over here as well because 2 of the 3 days that I wore it, it didn't settle into wrinkles. Today it's not settling into any wrinkles. Yesterday it didn't. It was only the first day. So you may have some settling. I can't guarantee it won't settle in any wrinkles. So could go either way on that one. It's definitely easy to apply. The only way that it doesn't go on well is with the fingers. It's buildable, it's comfortable to wear, and it was non-drying. So the cons on this one are that it stays tacky for quite a while, if not most of the day. And so because it does stay tacky and never really dries and sets, it does tend to transfer. It comes off on your fingers, it comes off on your phone, it comes off on your clothes a little bit. If you rest your face on your hand, it will come off there as well. It's also not the most long-wearing foundation I've tried. It was exceedingly short wearing the first day. I did get the wear up a little bit on it yesterday, but still, even if I get the wear up to 10 hours where it looks decent, like the coverage is still there at 10 hours, I don't like how it looks at the end of the day. I feel like by the end of the day, it looks waxy, it's gotten more luminous, it's accentuating my pores and my texture, and I just don't like it by the end of the day, even if I do get it to wear longer. So that is a big bummer for me. It didn't turn out to be another holy grail, which is what I was hoping for when I first put it on and was like, oh my gosh, I love how it looks. Sadly, it just didn't continue that way throughout the rest of the day, so that I looked as good at the end of the day as I did at the beginning. And currently I have other foundations that do that for me, that I put them on in the morning and 10, 12 hours later, I still look good. So this is probably not going to be a foundation that I'm going to reach for that often, but you know, maybe if I'm going out for an evening and I'm putting on my makeup at like 5 or 6 o'clock and I only need it to last for a few hours, I would probably use this because the color match is nice, and I think that it's really like a convenient package, you know, for like travel and everything. It's small. I do like the doe foot, but my favorite foundations currently that kind of beat this, look as good as this in the beginning, but also look great throughout the day. My newest one, my newest holy grail is the Estee Lauder Futurist. I mentioned this earlier in the video. I did think that this looked a lot like this when I first put it on, but as I said, it just didn't wear the same as this. This gave me like 10 hours of solid wear, even on my nose where everything wears off, without primer. So that one is also really good for dry skin people. I'd love to hear from you guys. You can let me know if you have dry skin and if you tried this, how it worked for you. I'm just never sure. I feel like it's kind of hydrating, like it hasn't been drying to wear, so maybe dry skin people it would last longer on. Then another one that I love that's kind of like those two because it's really fluid and it looks really natural on the skin and it is more of a luminous finish like those two are, is the Stila Hide and Chic foundation. This is also cruelty-free, fragrance-free, really great foundation. And then of course my all-time holy grail is the Chanel Ultra Le Tint Velvet. Now this one is formulated more for combo to oily skin. And my favorite drugstore foundation currently is the L'Oreal True Match. This is a beautiful foundation. This reminds me a lot of Estee Lauder Double Wear, so if you love Double Wear, you will probably like this. It comes in a huge shade range. It doesn't come with this pump on it. I'll put a link to a little pump that you can buy from Amazon for a couple of bucks in the info box. The other resource that I always recommend is the list of all the foundations that I've tried. I've got them listed in order from best to worst, in my humble opinion. It's over on my blog. I'll put the link to that in the information box below the video, where you'll also find links to all the products that I've shown here today. So that's it for today's Foundation Friday, everybody. I hope you found it helpful and informative. If you did, go ahead and give the video a like, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. As always, I thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you watching. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.